Ta-da!
Hello!
Hello, everyone. It is a marvelous Sunday in our respective neck of the woods. Hello, greetings, salutations.
Hello! It's quite nippy out.
Yeah, yeah. Not to be confused with Nipley. It
Oh,
could be.
did I just say what? I use both nippy and nipply.
Depends. It depends. Depends on the day.
I think I'll go with nipply today since I like that one better, I think.
There you go. So, hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 8. Here we are, doing
It's
the
like the
thing.
magic 8 ball.
It is. It is. And we're excited.
We are very
And
excited.
I feel like if we were shaking the magic 8 ball, it would be like, chances are good. I think
Yes,
that's like
or
one of the
just a
responses.
simple yes. Like,
Yes, exactly. So we made it. We're here. We're excited. We're glad you're here, that you keep coming back. It's pretty
we're
exciting.
very excited. And thank you.
Yes. In fact, we are at last count, and I checked it a little bit ago. We're at 157, man.
Woo!
157 subs. Woo, woo, woo.
That's amazing because
Yay.
we started out with what, four? I think four
We
people?
did. We started with 4, and now we have more.
We're like a Dr. Seuss book.
Yes, we are. So, thank you so much, guys. We are so appreciative. We're excited that you keep coming back, and we thank you. So, yeah, there you go.
And we're even moving forward. We've been coming up with even more content as each episode progresses, like more and more things that we'd like to talk about come to the surface. Keep on listening because we'll still have some good things to say. At least we think so.
Yeah, definitely. And you guys might have noticed that we are now doing shorts based on our episodes. So we have highlight reels. So if you want to get a little teaser, a little sample of what we've got going on, you can check that out in our channel. Go check the playlist called Episode Highlight Reels, and that will have a lot of samples from the episodes. We're still loading a couple of them, but you have at least episodes 2, 7. There's a good number of episodes. You get a nice flavor of what we talk about in there. Yeah, check it out if you want to do a little test drive.
Yeah,
What?
spicy flavor.
And
But
also, yeah, go ahead.
oh no, I'm sorry. I know we say this at the end, but just since we're talking about it now, just if you guys have any topics you'd like us to discuss or any
Mhm.
ideas, or please submit them. We'd be happy to talk about them. If we don't know the answer, like I said before, Nicole and I would be happy to research them or get feedback from other freelancers. Please let us know if there's something specific you would like us to touch upon.
Dang straight, because in fact, we're going to talk about a user submitted topic today. In fact,
Yes.
so yeah, we listen, we appreciate, we absorb, and then we say, in fact, yes, we will talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah, we will.
Sharing is caring.
It is. I feel like I need to do the little rainbow from the Care Bears.
I was just
Yeah.
thinking of the Care Bears. We were at the store yesterday and there's like a ton of Care Bear stuff out. And I'm like, oh my God, this brings me back.
Care Bears stare. Is
Yes.
that what it was? I feel like
Is
that's
there
what it
like
was.
an angry one? Because sometimes I feel I need that one.
I feel like that could be like a remix when they do the remake of Care Bears. Like it could be more realistic,
Yeah,
more
unhinged, like
based.
an unhinged one, or send that to people.
There you go. Like instead of a rainbow, maybe like a lightning bolt.
Yes, the anger.
There you go. So, yes. Also, please do not forget to share, follow, subscribe. Please support us, folks. This is a labor of love. We are sending, I like how I said that, love.
Yeah, love,
It's more like impactful, like it's stronger than love. It's love.
love.
Please support us. It takes less than 30 seconds. It helps keep this growth going and keeps the momentum going. And then we can bring you more content because then we can finally say, we're going to go all in here because that's what we want to do. So, yeah, please support us, guys. Thank you.
Yeah,
Please and
and you're
thanks.
also helping us on our road to world domination. So we appreciate that as well.
Yes, exactly. We're not going to talk about the plans because obviously nobody talks about their world domination plans, but there
Nope.
are plans in the works, to
Yep.
be clear. So yeah, thanks. All right. So with all that said, Sam, would you like to kick us off?
Yeah, so this is a user submitted topic, which we noticed ourselves too. And I'm glad someone brought it up because I don't know if I would have thought about it, but the more I think about it, I'm like, this is actually really important. The importance of investing in yourself to have your own work edited. So,
Yes.
as I know that, so basically, I can't edit my own work just because I'm so
Nope.
used to seeing it. Like, I don't even notice the errors sometimes because I've written it in my brain. It seems to be okay. I really need a second pair of eyes. And it's very important, I feel, that you invest in yourself to do that, whether it's a friend, whether if you need to bring in like an external resource or why this topic came up is because the person who submitted this topic was a huge reader and she said I could say she loves romance novels, loves them. And this book was recommended so highly on one of the social apps and she couldn't read it because there was within the second page there were so many errors that she was so distracted by it.
Ew.
And she's everyone's saying it's so good and I wanted to like it or read it, but she was I couldn't get past the first couple pages. It was just so bad. And then it made me talk to Nicole about it and we were like, yeah, you know what? That is pretty true because I know for myself I wanted to read a book, but I looked at the reviews, and one of the top reviews was the book was good, but there were so many errors. And I'm like, nah, I don't know. I don't know if I want to read it then.
Yeah, that's not cool at all. And just thinking about what you were saying, Sam, can you imagine how much more successful that book could have been if it was polished
Yeah.
and error free?
Oh, yeah.
And so you have to imagine because I'm sure you can get the book like on Kindle, or even if you order the book, you always have the option to return it. So I wonder how many returns that book has versus how many sales,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Nobody goes to the store and buys a sweater full of holes. You
Not
know,
intentionally. No.
right. If you did inadvertently, you're going to be like, no, this is unacceptable. I'm sending it back. So it's the same concept. Garbage in, garbage out. You don't want to have a product out there, especially that has your name on it and it's low quality. No bueno, guys.
Yeah,
No
especially when
bueno
you're
at all.
starting out. Like this is the
Hmm.
person's first book and was their first book. And Nicole just said you want to have a good rep and build up your client base and reader base and everything. And then if that's the first impression, yeah, you're not going to reach your goal, I don't think.
No, not at all. And we, of course, look at it from the perspective that, yes, we're editors, so we're going to be a little bit more, or a lot more, nitpicky in particular. But just because you're not an editor or proofreader doesn't give you a pass to put out shoddy work. I actually, matter of fact, very relatedly, I was just on the Adobe website. Sorry, not sorry, Adobe. I was looking at one of their products because I was thinking about adding it to my creative studio suite. And they had quotes on there. And one of the quotes was just like one long string of a word,
Yep.
like no spaces. They were like, who needs spaces? Why? Why do we need spaces? No, we don't.
Yeah.
And I looked at that and I was like, really, Adobe? That's what we're doing? And it gives you pause. And no, I did not purchase the product because I thought to myself, if you can't even get the quote correct, I don't know what else you're doing in the
Yeah.
code for this program.
That's hilarious. Like also the importance of commas, like those memes and stuff.
Yeah, like commas are your friend. It's okay to use a comma from time to time. Nobody talks in one long string. That's not a thing. So I say that to say that even the most reputable company, if you've got typos, that's just no one's going to take that seriously. I saw the most ridiculous one the other day where this is so bad, but I'm going to say it anyway. So it was a sign on a door and it said, apparently the place had to close unexpectedly, but apparently it was due to unforeseen circumcision.
Whoops.
I died.
That's very unfortunate for that person.
Very unfortunate. Who thinks circumcisions are fortunate? So I
Exactly.
get that. I get the sentiment behind it. Wrong context though.
Yeah.
So I'm saying
Ah,
that to say when you have typos and spelling errors, you might think it's not a big deal, but people do not take you seriously. They
yeah.
just don't. And I have, of course, I'm not remembering. Sometimes autocorrect loves to be a troll.
Yeah.
We talk about this all the time. How autocorrect feels that it can interject in the conversation and change something to something else. And it loves to change my name for some reason when I sign off. And I have seen the weirdest replacements. Like instead of my name, it'll say best next. And I think, oh, okay, I am next, I guess. So sure. And I have sometimes sent it with with the wrong spelling,
Yep.
which is really delightful. Um, so please check your work, is what we're saying, guys. Like you can have the best. Can you imagine having the best email? What if you're sending this very spicy missive to someone and you're so proud of yourself, and then you say all of that, and then you say best next.
Beautiful. Well,
Wonderful.
to that point,
Erases everything.
sometimes, and I don't know why, like I'll type so fast and then hit send and
Mhm.
then realize that I made this. Like
And
my
then
personal favorite is how does one spell Sam wrong? Let me tell you, you could spell it sma.
you
So
can.
yes.
Hmm.
Like
You
you said, a
can.
spicy missive, you're going with your bad self and you send it and you realize you signed it warm regards sma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Nicole.
Look,
Hmm. Done that one. I'm like, yeah, Nicole. I'm so proud of myself.
That's my
Dag nabbit.
nickname. That's my nickname.
Yeah, it's pretty embarrassing. So you're saying all of this to say proofreading not only saves lives, but it saves reputations.
Yeah. And
More important.
like to back, I remember I accepted because of my attention to detail. I got this job and I was signing my offer letter and I spelled my last name wrong.
Nice.
Autocorrect changed it to it was at that point Miano and autocorrect changed it to Maine
There
and
you
I did
go.
not realize when I sent it back.
Yeah, so you have to watch out for those autocorrects. It loves to do that. And also, the reason why we're saying we're not trying to say, hey guys, get an editor, and hey, for the low price of $49.99, you can have us as editors. Not what we're
Yeah,
saying.
that's not yeah, no.
What we're saying is editors are important because spell check will not catch everything. It is will
Mm,
not catch when the word is spelled correctly, but it's in
but
the
it's the
wrong
wrong
context.
word. Yeah. Whoop.
The exhibit A circumcision. Like it will not catch those things. So you need a human person to review your work and make sure that it is up to par. And I've mentioned Grammarly before, and they don't sponsor us yet. Doo, doo, doo.
Yeah, we hope one day.
Fingers crossed. But it does a really good job of catching context. I will say, I don't think it's 100% there. There is no program out there that exists, I promise you, that is 100% perfect when it comes to reviewing your work. But I think Grammarly does a pretty good job of catching some things. And they've even introduced style guide nuances. So if you tell it this is should be Chicago versus APA, it will actually
Hmm?
have in mind, which is actually pretty freaking cool. So it has come a pretty long way in terms of what I would consider advancements when it comes to reviewing your content. It still does not replace, all of that to say, it still doesn't replace a human person, another individual other than yourself to review
Mm-hmm.
your content. It just doesn't, guys.
Exactly. Oh,
Just, yeah.
oh, sorry, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean that. I had a thought and you know me, if I don't
No, that was the end of my sentence.
my sentence enhancer. One resource I like to use too, which helps in my work, and I think Nicole used it too, is titlecaseconverter.com.
Yes. Yes.
This is like if you're titling something like a book or paper or just checking a title, you can type in the title and then choose like AMAAP, Chicago Manual style, like anything, and it'll show you how it should be capped. Because some styles have two to be capped or two not to be capped, like two cap or two not to be capped. But this has helped me a lot, especially when I go back and forth between styles.
Yeah. And something else that you can use, and this might seem minor, but it can be very distracting. When you have quotation marks in your work, and we're especially talking like books, things that are longer than one page, generally speaking, not that you can't, but the likelihood is pretty low you're going to have a bunch of quotation marks in a single page. There is a website that will convert it from straight to curly or vice versa. The
Oh, I didn't
reason
know
why
this.
that's, yeah, the reason why that's important is because you want to be consistent. One is not wrong or right over the other, but it looks crazy to me anyway, and it's distracting if you have a combination where you have straight and curly mixed in between. So there's this, I'm actually looking it up as we speak. I'm trying to find it. And it's pretty darn cool. And it is called no, where is it? I thought it was gonna pull it up. Rude.
Very rude.
Extremely rude. Okay, I think it's this one. Let me see. I'm trying to open it up so I can find. There's a couple of different ones. This one is called Text Fixer. So the word text and fixer, all one word, .com.
Oh,
And you can paste your content in there and it will change it. It will change all of your quotes so they're all uniform. And when we say smart quotes, we mean curly. So you'll notice if you use an apostrophe, if you use a quote, it can either be straight, just straight lines, or it could be curly and it looks, I think, cute when you have the curly quotes. And so they're typically called smart quotes. And depending on where you're submitting, they might use one over the other. Again, no wrong way. It might just depend on the requirements. And so I personally like to use it when I was submitting my content to Kindle Vella. I would always run my episodes through the changer so they would all be even because they weren't always consistent. So something to
oh,
think
this is
about.
awesome. I just wrote this
Yeah,
down. I did not know. And it's funny, I never really realized because the stuff I deal with doesn't really have a lot of quotes, but I never realized that. And
yeah,
ironically, I was just looking at a job that someone had marked up they actually said curly quotes. I'm like, okay, but
yeah.
oh, this is so cool. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And you can do this in Word, but the only reason I mention this is because not everyone uses Word. For example, when I do my writing, I use Pages a lot. I personally like it because I can label my content, bucket it in specific categories, which you can't really do in Words. You can use labels in Pages, which is something that's native to Macs or iPads, I think. It's definitely an Apple product. So I personally like to use Pages, and you don't have all the nice shortcuts in Pages that you have in Word. So when I finish writing something, I will copy it, paste it into the utility online, and it'll convert everything for me before I upload it. So I love it personally, and it's a really quick way to do it. If you have Word, though, you can also do this in Word. And you have to, and I won't get too far into the weeds, but you have to change your settings in this case, where you have to tell it which way you want it to go. If you want it to be curly or smart quote, or you want it to be straight. So you have to do that first before you do a global replace. And then once you do that, then it'll change it for you. But if you don't have Word, this is another really cool way to do
This is so cool. I'm sorry. I'm like, it's just so weird the timing of that because I was like curly quotes and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even realize that they were like different the way because I don't really deal with them that much. Oh, this, thank
it.
you.
You're very welcome. So
And I
yeah,
just had another, oh, sorry, go ahead. Keep doing that today.
no, you're fine. Do it. Jump in.
Oh, no, I was just saying, I was just giving another example of having someone look at your work was just my resume, actually. I had been looking for a job and I'm like, why isn't anyone like contacting me or anything? And it turned out I had an error in my resume, which because I didn't have anyone look at it, I
Hmm.
would have never have seen it.
Yeah. And speaking of Sam, because we just had this conversation recently, and I apologize, guys. I decided that I was going to eat some butter cookies this morning,
Oh my
and
God, I just had one. I bought those tubs, the tins that people used to put
Mm,
their sewing items in back in the day.
yes, I remember.
I actually was like, oh my God, I must have that. And yes, that was my breakfast.
Yeah, so I decided to get my Walker's butter cookies, my beloved Walker's butter
uh,
cookies that I love but don't love me in return. And yeah, so that's what I'm munching on, even though I'm not supposed to. Don't
Nothing
judge.
beats Walker's. I'm sorry.
It really doesn't. Hey, Walkers, if you're listening, run me some vegan, gluten free butter cookies. I would be your customer
Yes,
beyond
we
the end
would
of
be
time.
very happy to taste test that as you're coming up with the formulation.
Absolutely. I'm here available 24/7. You can fly me out. I'd be
Yep.
happy to come to your home country to test this.
Yeah.
It would be such a sacrifice, but I would be willing to do it.
Yes, I'm always into the whole taste testing. I think we would be
Mhm.
good obviously, we'd be good spokespeople for that.
Hello. Yeah,
It helps us
definitely.
edit. Your cookies help us edit.
Exactly. And you can certainly say, doesn't she look like a person that eats Walker's butter cookies?
Yep.
Yep,
We would we would be a good advertisement for that.
we certainly would. Yes, just in case you're listening, love you guys, mean
Yep.
it.
Thank you. My mom used to love them
But
too, so it's been years since I've enjoyed them, like that I have enjoyed them over the years. So my mom, thank you, Mom, up in heaven for
yeah,
introducing me to the ways of the shortbread. Yep.
they're addictively good. But I only have them once in a blue moon because technically I shouldn't have them at all. And so I've got to do this whole routine to prevent all of the after effects of having butter cookies, but so worth it.
Yeah,
So worth
exactly. There's some things that are just worth it. Yep.
it. Anywho, went down the rabbit hole a little bit. I just didn't
Yeah,
want you
sorry
guys to
about
think I was
that.
weird. Like,
We like
why does
food.
she sound like she's munching on something?
Yeah,
Because I am.
I'm drinking
In
caffeine, so
fact,
we're both, yeah.
yes, back to the resume. We had just talked about this recently where a client recently submitted a resume for review and they've been having some challenges in the market. And one of the things that I will say, guys, and this might seem obvious, but I just don't know that it is. Please be mindful of the types of characters you're using in your resume.
Oh, yes.
So,
Okay.
really important. I know you want to be fancy, I know you want it to look a certain way, but you use text characters is what I'm saying. Don't use any images or emojis. Don't use anything that is not a standard character. And I hope that makes sense to you guys. So bullets are fine. Words, letters, periods, punctuations, those are fine too. The reason why it's important to make sure that you're not using non standard characters is because of the ATS system. And I don't know what it stands for, I just know that it sucks. No, sorry. The system that accepts your resumes.
Oh,
What
God.
does the
Okay, yep.
ATS stand for? Let me go look it up so I don't sound like a total weirdo.
Oh, no, I'll look it
It's
up.
the,
You continue.
okay, so this system that most companies use when you are applying for a role is what actually parses your resume and it will filter it out and the resume has to get through that system before it even gets reviewed. And so if you have a bunch of non-standard characters in your resume, it's going to reject it 9 times out of 10. So even though you might want to try to be really, hold on one second.
Oh, I found it. Applicant
Oh,
tracking
go for
system.
it.
Yeah, applicant tracking system.
Boom. So there you go. So the applicant tracking system is what most standard places use to actually review your resume. Not to review it, but to accept it and to run it through their filtering system before you make it
Yes.
to the recruiter, I guess, so to speak.
Yep. And
Right?
I just, to your point, that's what it says. Like they don't even, there's no personal people involved in it yet because that's what vets it. So
Yeah.
that's unfortunate. Like you just said, like it says it collects, sorts, scans, and then ranks. So your
Yeah.
application, if there's like an error or it can't read certain things, then you're just completely out of the running.
Exactly. So it's important to keep that in mind, guys, because anything that will give you a disadvantage, don't use it. I know it might look fancier, or you feel like it's more catchy or appealing, but it may actually kick you out of the running. So keep that in mind. Stick to letters, words, punctuation, standard stuff.
Yeah, and that's to your point. It says what it scans for is like it can be easily scanned and interpreted, and it checks for relevant keywords. So whatever position you're applying for, make sure there's relevant keywords that'll make
Exactly.
it stand out.
Yeah. So keep that in mind, guys. Just wanted to throw that out there. Make sure that yes, you want your resume to be attractive. You want it to wow people, but also you want to make sure you're using standard characters. So
Yeah,
I
and
think,
also,
yeah,
oh, sorry, I have two versions of my resume. One is the Word version for these type of systems, and then if the resume just itself goes to the client without, excuse me, using ATS, then that one will have some imagery or something fancy on it.
yeah. And to Sam's point, typically with ATS, you can use PDFs. I just find that it works better if you're using a Word file. It's more easily scannable and readable. And in terms of fancy, you can do like color shading. I've used color blocks before, like where it makes my name stand out. But definitely don't want to use embed images in your resume. You want to make sure that it's it pops when it comes to the content, but it doesn't need to be like a high production design, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah,
Like
yeah,
it should
yep.
just be straightforward. You can do some light shading here and there, but definitely don't you don't want to try to have a watermark in it
Yeah.
or something like that, because we get it that you want it to stand out, but that standing out could cost you even getting your foot in the door. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about building out your resume and making sure that you're not putting yourself at a disadvantage by adding things that are not going to make it through the ATS.
Yes. And they also, and I remember my uncle who was at one point a senior VP of a high profile financial company had said that basically they didn't look at resumes over 2 pages sometimes.
Yeah,
So that's another thing. I know that's down a rabbit hole and everything, but since we're talking about resumes, and I don't know if the ATS has some sort of tracking with the length of resumes, but just something to keep in mind.
yeah, and I think mileage for that varies. I think we talked about that, and it really depends on ultimately the reviewer, right? So for the most part, especially recruiters, because they don't have a lot of time and they're seeing thousands of applications probably, they're likely not going to spend a lot of time beyond the first page. The hiring manager might, but remember, before it gets to the hiring manager, it has to get through the recruiter. So you want to make sure that as much as possible, the content that needs to get the most attention is on page one.
Yep.
So keep that in mind.
Yeah. Yeah, and then yeah, I'm just thinking like of any other guidance. It's just sad though in a way that things are being vetted via AI because there's certain
Oh,
circumstances.
yeah, don't get me started on that. I feel like that is so ridiculous. Like, I get the point of it, and I get that it's meant to save time, but I feel like in a lot of ways, it's a hindrance, not a help.
Yes.
And I say that because when I've had to, when I've been in the job market looking for a role and you apply for something, and then less than 2 minutes later, you get an auto reject,
Yes.
that's not a real person. You're not a real person. And when you apply for the role, you think and say to yourself, what is the criteria they're putting into this AI system that is causing this automatic rejection?
Yeah.
So I'm very, I don't feel that AI is ready to handle applicant screening, at least not by the parameters that they are setting. So maybe they're setting it way too strictly, or maybe it's by design. Maybe they have it set so they only attract entry level people. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know.
And they're missing
Just,
out on so many good candidates. That's the thing that blows my mind.
yeah, it's weird to me. And I don't, The logic behind the way AI screens applicants is still a mystery to me. But I know that overwhelmingly a lot of companies are using it, and which is ironic because then they get upset at candidates that use
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
it.
exactly.
It's a fair play, I think.
Yeah.
Isn't
Huh.
it? You're using it to screen me out, so why am I going to waste my time? Anyway, whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
I just
Ugh.
find it interesting. And it's hard out here, guys. It's hard out
No, it
here.
is. And that's
So,
why I know we go down rabbit holes in a good way. It's in a good way. So we just want to
yes,
make sure that we're we give you the best information, but also as we branch out into these little topics, we hope that they help because I know, like Nicole just said, it is really hard out there, and
it is.
these AI things don't make it easy
They
because
don't.
there's
Mm-mm.
so much behind the initial resume to a person. The fact that you're being judged upon keywords and everything just makes me mad.
Yeah.
It's come on, just take the time to take 2 minutes just to talk to me, to give me a chance, so to speak.
Yeah, and because of that, I do want to say, because of that fact, you have to unfortunately play the game, right? So you have to make sure those keywords are in place. Obviously, please don't put keywords in there that aren't relevant and that even though they're in the job description, you've never actually done them or even know what they stand for.
Oh yeah, that
Please
never
don't do
goes
that.
well. Yeah, that never goes
That's not
well.
what we're saying. Please don't do that. What we're saying is make sure that the relevant content that you have, the experience, lines up with the job description. So do include those keywords because
Exactly.
the system will be looking for them. So don't do yourself a disservice and say, I don't want to mirror the job description, even though I've done all these things, because I don't want to make it seem like I just went with the job description. That's literally what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, and it'll get you in the door where you could discuss the actual qualifications.
Exactly. So keep that in mind. Like before you even get to the hiring manager, there are multiple steps. I've heard of even less sophisticated places, and I've talked to other colleagues that didn't have the same level of detail or availability and in terms of the systems is what I'm saying. And they still managed to screen out really good candidates. And so if you think about even now where the systems are even more elevated and sophisticated, the fact that can happen blows my mind.
Yes. Yeah, the fact that you can't even get to a next level, even though you have all the relevant experience, it's just, especially Nicole, when you and I were looking for jobs and stuff, it just, we're like, why can't, what's going on? And then you realize you're like, oh, okay, there's certain
Exactly.
criteria that we're not meeting, so to speak.
Yeah, and then to be honest, I think on some level, Sam, and I'd be happy to be wrong on this. I do feel that more and more companies want to save money. And
Yes.
so I think that companies are not only screening people out, but they're purposely screening out qualified candidates, I feel like overqualified.
I agree with you wholeheartedly because, yeah, and you shouldn't. Again, this goes back to something we talked about before about, and I think this is where you're going, so correct me if I'm wrong. Like, they don't want to pay you for what you're worth.
Um,
So then you get automatically rejected, and then you're like, and it's like a mental drain in a way because you're like, why? I'm completely qualified. But sadly, to your point, Nicole, I think it does come down to the money.
Oh yeah, like they do feel you're too qualified, and you have to keep that in mind as well. Sometimes the system, the bar set really low, if that makes sense. So they could have their ATS set so that it only screens for candidates that have a certain amount of experience because they don't want to pay for the extra experience. And even when you see these massive layoffs that take place across companies, sometimes in the hundreds and the thousands, they're going to hire a lot of these positions back, but it's going to be at a lower cost.
Yep.
So the bottom line is, and I say this as a person, and I'm sure you're in a similar situation that has gone through companies that have gone through layoffs before and restructures. Yes, they will trim the fat and then they will just bring it back leaner and cheaper.
Yes, and you know
So,
what? I've been through that twice
yeah.
where they did a huge layoff. They actually started using consultants, but then realized that the consultants were charging a lot more than the actual employees.
Oh, shocking. Huh,
I
how
know, and then
weird.
brought back the employees, like you said, at a lower rate.
Yeah, and then people are grateful, so of course they're going to take the job even though it pays less. Don't beat yourself up if you're applying to, and I know again, we have been through this before. We're not saying this from the outsider looking in. We have been in those levels of hell where we're looking for work and then it's not panning out. And I do believe that it is more difficult the more qualified you are. Because the more
Yes.
qualified you are, they see more dollar signs and they don't even want to be bothered with overqualified individuals because they don't want to pay the money. That's just, those are facts. Or they will withhold key information and hope that you'll just be like, oh, sure, I'll take it. No, guys, don't do that. Don't do that either.
Nope. Don't
So,
settle.
yeah, exactly. So I know like I said, we did a little meander there, but it was a valuable meander.
Nope. Because, and it all goes back to making sure that your resume and the materials that you've worked on are clean, especially like portfolio materials as well, to make sure, have someone else look at those as well to make sure like the items you're presenting for a position are clean.
Exactly. So keep that in mind. Please make sure someone looks over your work.
Because you're never going to believe who looks over my work. Wink, nudge, Nicole.
And me as well. Yeah, so yes, we're not gonna at all dismiss the fact that we are very fortunate to have each other to review each other's work. And I know
Uh-huh.
that's not always a situation that most people find themselves in, but get you a friend. Reach out. It doesn't have to be someone who's an editor,
Yeah,
preferably. Don't
definitely
please
not.
don't get me
Yeah,
wrong. Ideally,
sometimes, yeah.
yes.
Yep,
You
sometimes
want someone
just
to, yeah.
someone without, yep, sorry. I keep
No, you're fine. Dude, like this is what it's like. This is not scripted. It's fine. Go do
just
it.
real quick. Sometimes even if you use someone without an editing background, it is very helpful. Okay, I'm done.
No, please continue. Don't stop. That's what she said.
That was a good one.
No, so
That was
good.
amusing.
Sorry.
Oh
Guys,
boy.
we're here all day. We're here all day.
Yep. We go on
Figuratively
tour
speaking,
too.
I'm
Like
just
we
saying.
can come to a city near you. Yep.
Yes, we could. Oh my god, that would be awesome. We'll have to put a pin in that. We might have to revisit that. On a serious note, you can have someone who is not an editor review your content just from the perspective of, does this make sense? Does this look weird? Does this look all right? Am I missing something? Don't discount the value of a second pair of eyes. Just don't, because it
Yeah,
helps.
no.
Have someone other than yourself look at it. I promise you, it will make a difference. I do it all the time because you cannot trust yourself. You're too close to the work. So having that level of confidence where you're like, oh, this is good. And then you'll end up with Nicole. And then you'll be like, oh, that
Or
happened.
SMA. Yeah.
Because you just knew it said what it said. It didn't. Your eyes tricked you. They do that all the time.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. Keep that in mind. Just, yeah, I think we've beat that to death.
Yes. But I think this leads into our other topic, right? Are we the editing?
But
But oh yes, we have something before that. Sorry.
we do. So, something we want to start doing, because after all, the name of this podcast is F3, F, F, F. No, the name of the podcast is Feast, Famine, Freelancing, which means that a lot of you are here because you're trying to build out your freelancing career or you're just starting out. So, we want to make sure that we always give you, in addition to the fabulous topics that we cover, obviously, we want to make sure we give you resources that you can use right away that will potentially put some money in your pocket. With that said, I don't know what we'll call it. We'll just call it stuff you can use. Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm. Stuff. Yeah.
So today we want to talk about a resource that can be your next big thing. And I don't know if you guys have seen this because I see this all the time. So I would be surprised if you guys haven't seen this as well. When I'm watching a YouTube video And maybe it's targeted based on the type of YouTube video, but I see it come up a lot where you're watching a video and it goes to the ad and it's, if you're still selling physical products on Amazon, you're doing it wrong. And then
Oh my
there's
God,
like
yes.
a person or somebody else and they have an Amazon box and they're standing over a fire pit and they're dumping it into the trash or something. It's just oh my, like we have the next big thing. Then of course you have to click on the website and figure out what
Yes,
the heck
because
they're
then I
talking
want to be
about.
like, what are you talking about?
Tell me more.
Yeah, next best thing.
So guess what, guys? I am pulling back the curtain. I'm going to tell you what exactly that is. Oh my God. Yes, yes, I am. So it's really not revolutionary. It can be. So I guess technically, yes, it is. But you're getting it right here for free 99. So the resource is very simply put, yes, it is very true. I don't know. It could be, it couldn't be true. I think there's people on Amazon that sell physical products that make a boatload of money. So I think it's misleading to say that's not true. You can make money selling physical products like I do. The only difference is, and this is where the key comes in, you don't have any inventory. What are you talking about, Nicole? I'm glad you asked. So I am talking about, they're called low content books. And you're like, what? I said low content books. What is that? Again, I'm glad you asked. Low content books are as they sound, but in a different way. So, low content books refers to books that don't have a lot of text. So, not your novels, not your fictions, nothing that is like from start to finish, basically filled with text. Low content books refers to coloring books, to word searches, variety puzzles, all of those things that you typically, or activity books that you can
Oh,
purchase on Amazon. Those are called low content books. And a lot of people have jumped on this trend where they actually create low content books and they sell them. And so this is what you can do for yourself. You can actually create low content books and sell them for profit on Amazon. And you're probably saying to yourself, oh, sure, easier said than done. But the really nice thing about it is there is, and I'm sure there are more than one, but I'm going to mention the one that I use. And it's called Book Bolt. And so it's the word book, like the book that you read, and bolt, like a lightning bolt. So bookbolt.io. And I will try to put the link in the chat, or not in the chat,
I was like, wait,
in the
what?
description
Yeah.
box, if I remember, because I know I promise you guys all the time I'm going to put the link and then I never do. That's why I try to do a really good job of pronunciation. So you guys can look this up yourself. But this
Yeah, by the time we
particular,
remember things, yeah.
it's too late. And you're probably going to be like, thank God she actually mentioned the name of the product because she never actually posted it. She didn't. So bookbolt.io, total game changer, in my opinion. They have a monthly subscription, they have a yearly subscription, and you're probably wondering, like, why the heck do we want this, Nicole? You should check it out. Go to the website. Personally, I love it. It actually helps you create these books. It actually gives you some suggestions, designs, pages that you can generate. And so, if you are an artsy person, this is right up your alley. If you love to design stuff, this will be perfect for you. If you're not into coloring books, I could totally see this being, if, especially if you're an artist and you draw really well, or you have a specific style of drawing that has garnered you a lot of attention that people love and they can't get enough of, you can have a coloring book on Amazon, list it and sell it.
This is really cool. I'm gonna let Nora know.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I have used this myself. And say, okay, maybe you're not an artist, or maybe you're more of a digital design person where you can do some really cool covers. You have gotten really good feedback. Oh my God, your covers are so awesome. They're so intricate, blah, 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 blah. Why not create a notebook? If you're really good at creating covers, you can have a line of notebooks and you can sell them on Amazon and make money. So the whole, when people say you can't stop selling physical products, it's technically not true because it is still a physical product. The cool thing is you don't have to have any inventory. So it's really the other side of publishing books on Amazon. You're still publishing a book, but you don't have to have it in a warehouse. They get printed as people buy them, and Amazon does all the fulfillment for you. And if you were to, you can go on Amazon right now and do a search, coloring books, activity books, all of those, especially, I think, I don't know like when exactly this became like this huge surge, but there's definitely been a surge in Amazon for these types of books. And you have to think about it. People have kids who want them. People want to get them for themselves because they're good like gift stocking stuffer. That's what I'm looking
Yeah.
for. So you can sell them around that time. And the other really cool thing about this program that I just mentioned, Book Bolt, it doesn't just help you design the book or the product, it also helps you see which books are selling the best on Amazon, which types of books, which is pretty awesome. So it actually helps you scope out what content would do better. It also shows you which types of books, not only what types of books are doing well, but how much they're selling per day. So it's a really cool, to me, it's definitely been beneficial. I thought it was well worth the investment. I actually did do the subscription as an annual subscription. I think, in fact, when I purchased it, there was more of a, they had locked in the price. If you purchase it at a certain time, you can get it for this much. And now the book bowl price has definitely gone up, but it's still really reasonable. I was just looking at their website, and if you're a new person, it's $10 a month. They call it a newbie plan, or you can do pro, which is $19.99 per month. And either of these subscriptions come with a 3-day trial, so you can try it out and see what you think. Totally worth it. Personally speaking, no, we are not getting sponsored from them as yet. But really awesome program, really great tool to pair with products that you're selling on Amazon. Highly recommend if you have some cool ideas for notebooks, for journals, even if you don't have any, you don't have to have a lot of designs, is what I'm saying, for the interior of your book. If you want to create a notebook, as long as you have a really nice cover, you can sell it and also find your niche. One of my favorite lines of notebooks, they have a catchy or funny saying on the front related to workplace, and those sell really well. And so it's typically centered around work stuff. Like anyone can relate, and so it's super relatable because everyone has experienced this.
Yeah,
Like
I love
something like,
those. That
yeah,
kind of
like
stuff
I
draws me
survived.
in.
Exactly. Like I saw one that was like I survived a meeting that should have been an email, and it's a
Oh
notebook.
yeah. It's oh my
So
God, it's so true.
stuff like that. I think there's another one that I saw where the cover said things my boss did when they thought I wasn't looking,
Yeah.
and it's a notebook, and it's hilarious, and so it makes it relatable. And so if you have a really creative mind, or you're really funny and come up with these funny sayings, you can do a lot of different low content books on Amazon and sell them. And again, at some point we'll do like a walkthrough of, because I keep mentioning Amazon, so we'll do a walkthrough of what that looks like. The what if you wanted to start selling your products on Amazon? So maybe we'll do a day, we'll do a demo,
Yeah, that'd
and
be
we'll
great because
walk
this is like
through.
a nice filler for people who are looking for other ways to
Oh
unleash
yeah,
their creativity
absolutely.
and so it's lucrative.
Yeah, and if you
So
already
this is
have a
awesome.
a following, like whether it's on Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever the case is, if you already have a following, this is a great way to say, hey guys, guess what? I have this book now, or I came up with this. Come check it out on Amazon. We'll spend another day talking about Amazon alternatives, but I just wanted to throw that out there because it is it can be very lucrative. I have seen the daily amounts. There are people who are making thousands of dollars in a day from one of their products, and it's insane. And this is
And
not
this,
just I'm this is you can this is 100% verifiable on Amazon right now.
yep. And also this helps boost when you're submitting your freelance resume, have an online portfolio that already generates a huge following based on your skills is also
Absolutely.
amazing. Because then they're like, especially like with the ATS, they ask for URLs and online portfolios and profiles and everything. So you could pop
Yeah.
those links in there and boom, that probably
A-
puts you ahead of some candidates.
Absolutely. I have used some of the pages and some of the Facebook or other platforms that I manage. I have listed them on my resume before, depending on the role, because that does give you a lot of credibility. If you are able to amass a number of subscribers on the platforms in the hundreds of thousands, they're going to take a closer look. Like, okay, obviously they're doing something right. They want to be our social media manager, and they've been able to do this here. They might know what they're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, keep that in mind. Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. Yeah, the curtain has been pulled back. Now, when you see those ads, you can be like, I know what those are. Yep, there it is.
Exactly. Because me, I'm
No,
just like, I don't get it. But now,
and now, yeah, you can take the money you would have spent to figure out the answer to that and spend it on BookBolt and create you some
yes.
books and make you some money.
Woohoo.
Yeah, you're welcome. Now, the other side, the other option that I wanted to talk about and I know I think everyone's heard of this and I've even entertained. I haven't used it yet, but I know that people do really well on this because I buy stuff from here all the time. Etsy.com is another really good option if you want to have some side income. You if you're really especially this works really well for arts and crafts. If you're really good at arts and crafts, like maybe you make some really cool bracelets or you weave baskets and they're really cool and people love them and you always sell out when you do it locally with family and friends or coworkers. Why not set up a storefront on Etsy? I will say the one difference between Etsy and Amazon is you do have to have a physical product in the sense that it will be up to you to fulfill the product. And don't quote me on this because, again, like I said, I have not used Etsy myself. I don't know that they have a fulfillment center. Maybe they do, but presumably, if you have a patented or proprietary basket weaving process, I don't think they're going to be able to fulfill that for you. Pretty sure you're going to have to weave the baskets yourself and then sell them on Etsy so they can provide you a platform to sell your
Yep.
products. But a lot of people do really well on Etsy. They and you can the things that you can sell run the gamut. I have seen hair extensions sold on there. I
Oh,
have
yeah.
seen brooches. Is that how you say it? Brooch?
Brooch like pins or
Yes, thank you.
you're welcome.
So I have seen those things sold on there.
I've seen those shirt enhancers on there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I have seen furniture. Maybe you're a really good woodworker. Is it, no, carpenter. Jesus, that was terrible. I think woodworker can be a word, right? Don't people
Yep.
say woodworker? Okay, let's go
Woodworker.
with
Yep.
yeah. There you go. Try to say that 3 times real fast.
I have like several people that actually knit and have Etsy storefront.
Oh yeah, that's a
Mm-hmm.
good one. If you love to knit, crochet, again, you can use that to build up your side income. If you
Because
have, yeah,
oh no, we just want to like just to break in like real quick, we're exploring these avenues just for to cover all types of freelancing. Like
yeah, exactly. Again, freelancing. I keep saying, I think I come up with a different definition for it every time we're on here. So I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna see what Merriam Webster's, jeez. I'm so
That's
sorry,
our
Mary.
own, like, we should call it that. Just create our own dictionary.
Let's see what Merriam-Webster has to
We
say
could call
about
it
it.
what was when you misspelled your name, what was it?
Nicole.
We could have the Niclosma dictionary.
Exactly. So I'm looking it up right now. So what is freelance according to Merriam-Webster? Freelance, they have all these different options. Let me see. Okay, let's go with the noun.
Okay.
Freelance. A person who pursues a profession without a long-term commitment to any one employer. Boom. Freelancing.
Yes. And then, yeah, and it can be anything. So that's why we want to make sure that when people tune in, we're not just talking about, we focus on editing, but we also like to talk about like other means of doing it too, so that everyone feels included, so to speak, and everyone gets ideas like with
Yeah.
with the books. And I think that's excellent. And I really want to do actually for you to do a session where I can listen to since I'm not familiar with it, but I think it would be awesome to do the walkthrough like you suggested
Yeah. And
on
guys,
Amazon.
I promise you, like, it is not as daunting as it sounds, and this will be available free. In fact, let's commit to doing it. This will be like our Christmas gift to you. We're going to do a walkthrough of how exactly do you submit and sell your book on Amazon. We're going to walk through that. We're going to do that this month. You heard it here first.
And this also
Exclusive.
branches out into offering freelance services too. Like this is all connected, is where I
Absolutely.
was going.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. So, as you just heard, you heard me use the definition. So, you could be freelancing right now and you didn't even know it. You can be like, oh, snaps. I'm already a freelancer because I do that thing over there and it's my thing and nobody else owns it and I do it on my time whenever I feel like
You're
it. I'm freelancing.
free, Lansing.
Free. Yeah. Freelancing.
Yeah, I was
Let
just
me.
gonna say that, like that song. Instead of free
um,
falling, we're putting freelancing, girl.
hey, look, we'll do that from time to time. We'll just bust out in song because that's how we roll.
We'll be like the Weird Owl of like editing phrases.
I'm glad we didn't do this like long string because we don't want YouTube to be like, no, you're not, that's copyright stuff. Nope.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We just did
Sorry.
a little snippet. So,
Yeah, that
seriously, so there's so many options out there to freelance, guys. So, we just wanted to give that, put that out there because you can start doing stuff right now. And that's what we want. We want you to leave here feeling, oh, shoot, I can put my little shingle up and start selling this stuff. Maybe you do
mm-hmm.
really cool, dirty limericks and you can sell those. And I know I sound crazy for saying that right now. I'm going to stop using the word crazy because it's not crazy like a fox. But seriously, and I'll say this and then we can probably, then I'll turn it over to Sam and then we can move on. I know that saying something like, you can sell dirty limericks and make some money sounds absurd. I know it does. Guess what? There's this guy, I don't know where he's located, but I just saw this news story, and I don't know if you've seen this, Sam. He is making $10,000 a month. And you're like, oh, yeah? What is he doing? Real story. You can look this up right now. This man sells messages on a potato.
What?
For yeah, he sells messages on a potato. What he does is people order these potato messages, and it's literally what it sounds like, guys.
I'm looking this up.
For $10, you can order a potato message. And I know that's not the right wording, but look it up, message on a potato. And what he does, and these are not fancy, elaborate calligraphy type of messages. He's using a Sharpie and he is writing
Oh
messages
my
on a
God.
potato,
Yeah.
and then he is shipping them to the individual you want to send to for $10 per potato. And the man is clearing $10,000 a month.
Can I just say that there's so many ones that do that? You can send a potato
Yeah,
parcel for,
thank
oh
you.
my
Yes.
Lord.
Look that up, guys. Potato parcel. I'm telling you, it is a real thing. It is not made up. This is not an early April Fool's joke. This is a thing. This man is selling potato parcels, messages on a potato.
It's like, why yam I so happy because you're such a sweet potato.
There you go. So, yes, this man is clearing $10,000 every single month with potato messages. So, don't tell me you cannot sell dirty limericks. That's what I'm saying. You have a clever idea, you have this concept. Why don't you try it? I do this all the time. I promise you. This podcast you're listening to, it was an idea. It was. And Sam and I talked about it and we're like, we're going to do it. Now, you could be sitting
Yes.
on an idea right now and you're like, this sounds silly. Who's gonna buy it?
Oh,
In
someone
fact, you
will.
could have said, who's gonna listen? And guess what? You're listening right now. You sure are.
Nothing.
So
It's just give anything a go. You just never know. And I'm like Dr. Seussing it again, but yeah.
do the
But
thing,
you think
guys.
someone
Do the
will,
thing.
I don't know. There's always someone out there that will think your idea is cool, I believe. And I think
Exactly.
all you need is that one person.
Hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm
Yes.
sorry. I'm just floored by the potato thing at the moment. Yep.
See, potato parcel. Look it up, guys. You're welcome. And it just basically says to me, if this man can clear $10,000 a month with potatoes, I think I can do something similar or better or cooler. And it doesn't even have to be cooler, but you can make some money online, guys.
Yeah,
That's all
I'm
I'm
sending
saying.
you a potato now, man. That's gonna be your gift is a
And you're
potato
going to
with my
contribute
face
to
on
his
it. I could put my
income.
face on
See,
it. Yeah. Who wouldn't want that?
there you go.
Like
There you go.
a
So
Sam
there are,
I could do a Samado. Sorry.
see, so that's what we're saying, guys. The possibilities are endless. Definitely don't hesitate. Do it today. I'm telling you, like I will say, like I mentioned before, I started publishing my books in earnest in 2021. And the only regret I have is not starting sooner. And all I did in this case, because you'll think, oh my God, what the heck am I going to write about? The books that I published early on, content or word, Jesus, the content of the books that I published was based on previously written works. And I say that to say is you might already have some content. You don't even realize it that you can repurpose into a book. I do this quite a bit the way that and I what I love is and different places will vary, but if you own the content, you have the absolute right to repurpose your content and repackage it into something different. So that is what I did, and I did it as just a why the heck not? Because just because you have your product online doesn't mean that everyone has access to it. Everyone who is on your Facebook page or your other social media pages aren't necessarily going to be the customers you get on Amazon. And so you could be opening your content to a whole other world of people
Yep.
that wouldn't typically have access to your content. So publish the book, man.
Yeah, just do
Don't
you only have one
just do
life
it.
and I like
YOLO.
I know I'm like older, obviously, but it's like I'm suddenly realizing like all the things I wish I did that at the time was like, eh. But it's like now I'm like, what's the worst that's gonna happen? People are just not gonna
Yeah,
like it.
don't talk yourself
That's
out of it.
Yep, just do it.
Don't
Like,
talk
that's
yourself
why we're
out of
doing this
it.
podcast because we have a lot to share. We're fun. Who wouldn't want to spend a Thursday
I
with
mean,
us?
hello. You'd be crazy not to want to. I
Look at
mean,
all this oh my God, I can't even. Adorableness is where I was going. Ooh,
it's just too much adorableness. That's what it
I know
was.
I couldn't
It's just
even
like you
say it.
couldn't
It's so
handle it.
much adorableness. But
We say
oh,
that to
sorry, go ahead.
say, just do it. No, honestly, go ahead.
Do it. So this kind of leads into our final topic du jour,
Yes.
and it's something that I talked to Nicole about bringing up too because it's something that I did in my earlier years to generate business for myself and to meet like a bunch of really cool people actually. So I'm talking about bartering. So
Yes. Yes.
so for example, there was I'm hopefully this is okay example. There's a nail salon by me that was opening and we were talking I went and I love them and we were talking about like advertising and stuff and I was like, "Oh, if you need help, I do some design work on the side." So I ended up doing a business card for them in exchange for having my nails done.
Boom.
And I helped a store that was opening that couldn't really afford like advertising or anything like that, I created like flyers and the sign and everything like that in exchange for funny socks that they were selling.
There you go. Yeah. So yeah,
So it doesn't always, I think, so to the point of investing in yourself, but if you can't afford an editor, just ask someone or barter if that person want. And it never hurts to ask if there's another way of payment. All that person is going to say is no, if not. But for me, like I've bartered for like sessions for something, for the nails, for socks. I'm always willing to help people, and sometimes people don't want your help for free, like they feel like they need to give you
yeah,
something. So it doesn't have to be money. Be like, oh, hey, like I love cookies or I like the movies or something like that.
yeah. Seriously, Sam and I barter all the time, and I know it's like we do. And what we do to me is a form of bartering. We edit each other's work, so there's an exchange there, a service for a service. We This is something else that you can think about because I have done this. I do this right now. So you may not be able to afford an editor for your book, but there are editors that would be willing to edit your book in exchange to get a byline in your book.
Yep,
That's something else to think about. And I'm not saying every editor will do it, certainly not like the more wildly successful editors. It just depends. Mileage does vary, I will say that. But you could put your work out there and say, hey, if anyone would be willing, and I'm not saying that everyone will, but you don't know unless you try. So you can put
exactly.
your Upwork or whatever. I don't know if Upwork does this because I think you have to pay at least an amount, but there are, I'm sure, lots of forums out there. Maybe even Reddit would do it. I think Reddit gets a lot of eyeballs. You can say, hey, I
I
have
think
this
so too, because it's
novel.
been coming up a lot for me when I'm doing searches
Yeah,
now.
yeah. So you can say, hey, I have this novel. I don't really have the funds, but if anyone would be willing to edit my book in exchange to get byline, so edited by, please let me know. You can do that. I have seen, and I think a couple of publishing companies do this where, and again, that's a different rabbit hole, so I don't want to go too far in, but perhaps you can work out an arrangement of a portion of the sales from the book. And you would obviously want to have a contract. You don't want to just say that, but you actually want to have a contract in writing saying, in exchange for editing my book, you will get X% of net royalties. That's important, not of the gross, because
Yeah,
then you're going to be out a lot of money.
yeah,
But you could work out an arrangement where you give them a percentage of the proceeds. Personally, I would stay away from that, especially if your book is a bestseller.
yeah.
If
That
you're sitting on a book that's going to be, you're going to be paying them for life. So that's going to be,
my bad. Yeah,
but you could do that. So that's also possible. Personally, I think the better option is to say, hey, I have this book. I don't have a lot of funds. Would you consider editing my book in exchange for a byline? And that helps them because they can put that in their portfolio. That's huge. And it's not just enough to say, oh, yeah, this person edited it. You need to actually put their name in the book.
yeah, yeah. Otherwise, yeah,
Or and especially if
yeah,
you're selling on Amazon, and I talk about Amazon all the time, not because they pay us anything, but because I use them a lot. But Amazon allows you to add contributors to your book. And so you can actually say the name of the person and what their contribution was. If they were the editor, you can list them. So that's a really nice way to do it so that they're listed next to your book as a contributor. And that also gives them visibility. So there's a non-monetary value to editors doing your book in exchange for that because it will turn to money for them.
yep. And it's huge
So
for
yeah,
just that simple line is
yep.
huge. That's what she said. But
Yeah, you can
I
go
was
ahead and say,
waiting. You let me down. That yeah, just that line could change someone's life. Not to be dramatic, but on a resume and stuff, that
sure
like
though.
opens up a whole new world of freelance opportunities to apply for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely, especially when I was heavy into the book editing game, I would list the works I edited. And so I'd have a list of the works or the books that I edited in my resume. So it is a game changer because a lot of, especially if you're trying to freelance as a book editor, publishers are not really going to give you your start. Let me just be honest with you. You have to have some type of experience already before they'll even consider. A lot of publishers have a minimum. You have to have at least 5 books or some. There's a threshold that you need before, I will say, reputable or high visibility publishers will consider you. So this is a good way to build up your portfolio. You might even offer it to people. You might actually, as an editor, say, hey, I'm willing to edit your book if you give me a byline. When you're starting out, that might be what you have to do. And that's going to be to your benefit to do that, because then it helps you build your portfolio. So then when you do go to the big publishers, you can then say, here are my credentials.
Yep. And yeah, that is definitely the way to go. And I got my start in book publishing just recently through word of mouth, but now that'll, which helped. And then I had to take the test. And then now I can start on it, but that'll help me work with another publisher now, I think.
Yeah, and I think maybe this just leads me into next episode, next time on Feast, Famine, and Freelancing. We'll talk about another great, unexpected place where you can find you some good work. And fun fact, I will say that this particular place, it may surprise you, it may not, but that is how I landed my internship for a local publisher who I went on to work for a decade and some change, and is still to this day one of my ultimate mentors.
See, that is amazing. And
And it
that'll
was
be
it
perfect.
was free resource, free. Paid $0 to access his job posting that I went on to apply for and landed. We'll talk
See?
about that next time.
Woohoo!
You'll want to come back.
Yes, I know. I want to come back.
We have talked a lot today. See how we balance it out? Last time it was like a little under an hour, and now we're talking about all the things and giving you all this great content that you can enjoy and benefit from.
Yes. And
So
we
we're
will be
done.
back next week with even more content.
Yeah, we will.
Riveting content, I should say. Riveting.
Yes, that's what we're all about here. Riveting, keeping your attention, amusing you from time to time,
Yes, because
perhaps
we
making
want
your
you to
eyes
come
roll.
back. And like we say each time, we're attempting to build like an awesome freelance community, no matter what type of freelancing you do, that, we
Exactly.
can all connect each other globally and help each other out.
Yeah, and if you've got resources, if not just resources, but if you have a need for freelancers, if you're looking to be connected to freelancers, or if you're looking for opportunities, let us know, because that's how we're going to build out our community. We definitely want to hear from you, especially if you're maybe a small business, you're looking for talent. Let us know. Put a comment in the YouTubes or wherever you find
YouTube's.
or access your podcast.
Yeah,
Send us a little
wherever, yep.
message.
Just reach out to us so we're happy. That's what we want. We want to help.
Yep. All right, guys. I think we've said all there is to say
Yep.
for today. We covered
Yes.
all the topics and all
Yeah,
of the
we did.
things. Hmm.
All the things. So,
So
and
thanks
yep.
for being
Oh,
here.
go, I keep doing that to you today.
That's like now we're getting like loopy and a little. I think I'm having a sugar crash, if I'm being honest, from the
Me too. I'm
buttercookies.
having like a caffeine one at the moment.
I think that's what's happening. So full disclosure, guys. But thank you for being here.
And thank you.
We hope this was helpful. We hope you'll come back. We hope you'll give us some feedback. Please this video when you see it. If it's beneficial, I bet there's at least one thing in here that was beneficial. So please like it. Please share. Please
Yes,
subscribe.
even if it was just learning how to spell Nicole and Sam correctly, if that's a
Exactly.
takeaway, you got it.
Not Swan, Chloe.
Yep.
Yeah,
Samantha.
that's a really good takeaway there.
Yep.
Thanks for being here. We will see you again on the flip side. So until
Yep.
next time, bye.
Bye-bye.